What's up, reefers? Welcome back to another episode, guys. Today we're in Maryland. We're visiting Muggy, the inappropriate reefer. You guys seen him on YouTube. He's been doing videos for a long time. He invited us over. We're gonna go check out his tank. But he's got this swing in the front. I'm just having too much fun with this good weather, so he's gonna have to wait a little bit. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. In the meantime, I'm gonna stay here. You guys go check out the tank. Sorry, guys. All right, we're here with Muggy. Muggy, what's up, buddy?
How are you doing? It's been a long time.
Thank you for having me over, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming all this way.
I haven't seen you, what, like 2 years or so?
2 years, yeah, maybe even more than that. And
More
here's
than that,
Colleen,
right?
Yeah.
You just going attention, don't you? This is the puppy right here. So 2 years, I saw you at Reefapalooza in New York, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was a great show, great show. Hopefully I can make it this year as well.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to see you there, right?
Yeah.
So you invite us over, we're here. So let's talk about this beautiful tank. It's so overgrown, I can't believe it, man. So how big is this tank?
So this tank is 145-gallon mold aquarium. This tank is a little bit unique in terms of the dimension. 48 inches by 30 inches deep, which is something that I like. I like deep tank, and 20 inches tall. Initially, I was hoping for a taller tank because I like the idea of walking from the tank and just see all tank, right? But that did not work out. So instead, we got a deeper tank, which is great too. You can create that depth.
Yeah, I can see it. Your aquascape looks fantastic, man. So since we're talking about the aquascape, what kind of rock do you use?
So these are I believe, the reef saver rocks, and I use the E-Macro to kind of use the cements to cement them together to different shapes. Although by now, a lot of the rock work itself is being covered by the corals, which is the goal anyways.
Yes.
But yeah, recently I have been struggling in terms of aquascaping, simply because, like you can see, certain corals are not growing as well as I hoped.
Gotcha.
So I was thinking, since the back is pretty grown out, I may even remove the whole front portion out and put other things in the front, so I'll move things around a little.
I think you're crazy. I think the aquascape looks beautiful.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind.
No, seriously, I love the way this is spreads on the middle, all the caves. I love this front cave, how everything comes towards the right. I mean, I love it. I really do. And this rock right here, this is like a branching rock?
So this is actually a man-made. It's from Aqua Rocks. There's another piece in the back as well. It's kind of overgrown, so you can't really see it. But it's basically this structure with frag plug holes in it, and you just insert the frags in there. And after building this out, I want something even more minimum, so the coral can take up more space. And that's why I reached out to Aqua Rock, bought this thing right here, and then you see I planted some torch at the top. Down here, planted some Montes. The Montes, actually 2 weeks before you came, I scraped off a bunch of them off the glass. They're just too overgrown.
They were just growing all over the place, into the glass.
It's my fault. I did not maintain it, and I did not plant it out ahead where it's so close to the glass. And that's one thing I learned.
So this is a pretty overgrown reef, to say the least, so I can definitely see how that was growing against the glass and stuff like that.
Yeah, personally, I love a really grown out reef tank. I'm not a huge fan of tiny frags.
Yeah.
Give me a overgrown reef tank with common corals versus like a expensive coral with tiny frags. I prefer like some more common
you like more the natural look, you like overgrown corals. So let's start from the top. What are you using for lighting?
So I got Radiance. I believe these are the G5 Pros, and these are XR15.
XR15.
And they are accompanied by AI blades. These are the glow for the color.
For the glow. So you got two glows right there.
Yep.
Okay, you're hanging it with the Ecotech Marine bracket.
Yep.
Then you got a little cloud coverage right here.
That's right.
I like it.
Just a little more interest. I thought about maybe doing a canopy, which would be cool too.
Yeah.
But ultimately I was like, okay, let's try some cloud and see what's going on. And once I got a cloud up, I was like, okay, can I add something else? And we got this from One Piece. We got, at one point, the pirate ship was able to fly into the sky, and I thought that's perfect.
That's cool, I love it, super creative. Where do you get that idea from?
Watching anime, I'm a huge anime fan.
Oh, cool, I got you.
2 MP40s, and also we have a Vectra M2 running the returns. So these are the 3D printed, it's called the Urchin Cage. It basically modified the flow so that it's the wider. Because of how deep the tank is, I don't want to add more power heads inside the tank, at least at the moment, so
Gotcha.
I try to find ways to modify it. So these are the ones I went with. Nowadays, there's actually a different one that came out as well from a different company that allows you to adjust the flow. There's actually a little pivot point.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of cool. But down the road, as things get a little bit more grown out or dense, I may add more power head or maybe switch over to the gyros
Yeah.
to get more flow. And I think that's one thing you pointed out too. The tank needs more flow, especially if there's SPS in there.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have a lot of goniophoras and you have a lot of euphyllic. So if you crank the flow, it might come at a cost.
Yeah.
Where some other stuff might not do as well.
So that's the challenge of mixed reef, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like this is sort of representative of what a lot of hobbyists may be going through. Like they started somewhere, maybe softies, LPS, and then they start moving more into SPS. So I'm kind of at that point, like, okay, you have a decision to make. Do you want to keep this going because as more SPS grow out, you may need more flow that will upset other things. There's a choice.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do?
That's your call.
Yeah, exactly.
That's yours.
But that's what makes it fun, right? It's like different journeys again.
This clam.
Oh, love clams.
How long have you had that thing?
Not that long for this one, because I cheated.
Oh, you did?
About a year and a half ago, I did buy this from a tank breakdown. That is already a decent size.
Okay.
Of course, it grew since then. I do also have 2 baby clams up there from
I
Clammania.
see it. They're beautiful. John from Clammania. He grows some
John
nice
from
clams.
Clammania. These are the Croceas that need a little bit higher light.
Yeah.
I did not realize how much light it needed before. He recommended 250 to 300 par, right? For
That's
those.
pretty high.
That's pretty high. And the only place I have them is kind of like in that area. So I ended up just putting little pieces of rock on SPS and just plant up there.
Hey, it
Seems
works.
happy. Seems happy.
It works.
The concern now is the tort is actually growing into the shell, encrusted onto the shell of one of the clams. So at some point I made you adjust it, maybe like nip off the.
You have to.
Yeah. Otherwise.
He's gonna have a tough time opening up against the coral.
Yeah.
So one cool thing mentioning, I love it. Like you were saying earlier, you prefer a tank with basic corals and overgrown, the rare corals and a small one. I like that because a lot of people are constantly chasing just the latest and greatest, just the rare corals. And I always, you watch my videos all the time, I tell people, chase a coral because what you like.
Yes.
And one of my favorite corals, and don't laugh at home people guys, is neon candy canes. I love the way they grow into like when you get them into like a mini bowl, you know, like where you get a couple hundred hits and they're just nice and puffy. And they're so neon that if you touch them, your hand will get a little neon in it, you know?
Yep.
So it's just one of my favorite ones. You have a lot of basic corals in here, which I can really appreciate. This red gunny right here, how long have you had it?
This one, 4 years. Actually, no, 3.5 years. Like, it's one of the first coral to go into this tank. Same thing with the one in the back, that's a pink one. Came from a local reefer, Lynn. It was brown and unhappy for almost close to a year. It barely come out. And when I started messing with trace elements a little bit, it found what it needed and just exploded in color. And that's one thing in my experience that I noticed with Gani. They're so forgiving in terms of bad environment. Like they hold on, they hang out until the environment's right, and then they came out.
I noticed that. The Gonioporas can be very finicky.
Yeah.
But once they get comfortable, they're just there and they grow, as long as you don't mess with them too much. The rainbow chalice down there.
Yes.
That thing looks beautiful. How long have you had it?
That was about 9 or 10 months. It also came from Lynn. So she will kind of bring in like random corals, be like, hey, I have this, why don't you have this, and try this. So she'll bring in all these random corals. Also over here, I have a little section for all the quote unquote whipping willows letters.
Yeah.
We got some that claims to be willows that she'll bring. It's like, hey, I cannot get the tentacle to grow out. Maybe you have better luck. Why don't you try this? I have a lot of these as well.
Gotcha. They look beautiful, man. So you got your little leather island, you got your torch island, then you got your hammers and frog spawns back there.
Right, and we got SPS. And I feel like this is really typical to a lot of the reefers. That's kind of more beginner intermediates that want to try different things to see what calls to them.
Yeah. And then the Space Embedded Pectina, you have it in 2 different places here?
Oh, yes, 3 actually.
Where's the third one at?
The third one's, that's actually a tiny frag.
Oh, I got it. I see it. I just seen it.
Love Space Invader Pectinia. If I have to pick a favorite coral, that would be it.
Yes. And I see you're giving him his own space because you know it sends tentacles everywhere.
It's still stinging some of the corals over there.
So you know what? There's a little trick you can do.
What is it? I would love
You
to
can
hear.
cut the tentacles.
No, are you serious?
Yep.
But do they grow back just as long?
Yeah, the coral doesn't hurt whatsoever.
Okay, all right.
So if you see 2 tentacles that they keep coming out, you cut them and now you got to re-roll them.
I'll try that. I'll try that.
I'm saying if it's, let's say if you were to sting the Goniopora, you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna cut those tentacles. And then the tentacles are, don't cut all the tentacles, just the ones that you think they're.
Okay, that's stinging, right?
Yeah. So the other thing that I love in this tank is the firecracker clove polyps.
Oh.
You have them here, you have them in the back, you have them here trying to grow.
No, I'm not trying to grow.
No,
it just happened there.
They're just spawning in different places?
It just dropped. I'm trying to get rid of them. I see them, I pluck them. You see that back there?
I like them.
I plucked them. No, they're just overgrowing everything.
Hey, that's what you say. Natural corals grew huge corals, right?
That's true.
It's the nature, man.
That's funny because you're right. Because one thing that I think make a reef tank look natural is that the coral does not just grow in one place.
Yeah.
Same coral should grow in different places.
It does its thing.
But this one is just too crazy. I feel like these clove polyps and encrusting montes, if your friend give it to you and don't tell you to keep it on a separate rock,
they should have told you something. It's not your friend, right?
Yeah, but these are great. You're right. A lot of people like it. This is actually a frag rack.
Yeah.
So plugs there. And as they grow over it, if a friend's over, just take it out and just give it to people. So that's what I do.
So what I love a lot, magic carpet mushroom. Nice. We started growing those in the year 2013, 11 years ago.
Oh.
I have a rug with about 30 of them in a display tank, and they look incredible. I mean, those are the magic carpet mushrooms. I love them, I love them. It's one of my favorites. So let's talk about your fish a little bit.
Sure.
My favorite thing that I'm seeing right now is your lyre-tail Anthias. I see you got a male, and I'm trying to count how many females you got in there.
So there should be 4 females. I was a little bit nervous because I hear Anthias in general is tough. You have to feed them often, and that's why I got this. Avast Plank to auto feed. I started out feeding, I think 4 or 5 times a day, just small portion.
And now?
But now it's just 2 times a day, and in the morning I'll just hand feed and enjoy the tank as well. So 3 times a day.
And the fish seem to be happy.
Very happy.
And then you have right here, you just got this damsel right here?
Just got this damsels. Got it recently. Stocky, yes. I'm looking at the fish stock and I feel like I need to add a little bit more. This one popped up locally, just out of random. There's always one of the damselfish I'm really curious about. It just popped up without thinking. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna pick him up. Is he still available? Turns out he is. So I think I may add 2 or 3 more small damsels.
Gotcha.
And if they get too big, too aggressive, I'll just kind of catch it and rehome it. And that's one thing I'm not too shy about. If a fish needs to be rehomed, I have no problem catching it and rehome it. I know a lot of people are saying that whatever fish you get for tank, you should keep it long term. But I feel like if it's going to a better home,
why not?
I think it's okay.
So let's talk a little bit about your parameters a little bit.
Sure.
So, do you do water changes?
I do not. When there's issue or when things are noticeably not happy, like right now, I may do a water change. And I would do maybe roughly 20-25%.
When was the last time you did a water change?
4 or 5 months ago.
4 or 5
and
months
I use that chance to clean out the sump as well.
Okay.
I use a wet vac to kind of suck them all out.
Okay, and what salt do you use?
I use Red Sea Blue Bucket at the moment. I was using Tropic Marin, but I'm not really married to any salt brand. As long as the parameter, I look at the alkalinity. As long as it's around 9, then I just use it.
And can you tell me what are you dosing this tank for calcium, alkalinity? Do you do magnesium?
So it's mainly...
Break it down for us.
Yeah, let me open this up. I know you guys look at a lot of beautiful setups.
It's all right.
So this is one thing I like about the mold aquarium as well. You can just take off the panel versus little doors. So some comes and fits. We have a calc reactor, which means I dose calc. Avast Marine, great stir. A lot of people say that it's not necessary, which is true. It's not necessary. You can use a big bucket, but I'm not a fan of like washing out buckets all the time. So this works for me.
Okay.
So to maintain alkalinity, calcium, I mainly use the Kalkwasser.
Okay.
Anything that's not covered by the Kalkwasser, I use 2 parts and use the BLS soda ash and calcium. Soda ash and the calcium with the dosron.
How often?
4 times a day. I think it's like 2 milliliters. It's really tiny, just to keep the hose not dry.
So that take care of your calcium alkalinity, and do you do magnesium also?
Magnesium once in a while. When I do ICP test, if it comes back low, I'll just adjust. And I do ICP tests because I run the Reef Moonshiner to those trace elements. So I do that relatively regularly, maybe every...
So you dose trace elements?
I do, and I can show you. So here are the dailies. It looks like a lot, but basically I just pull the bottle out.
What is that?
Cobalt. So for Reef Moonshiner, they break it up to different elements, and certain ones you just do one large correction each time you see them. But these are the daily dose. Manganese, chromium, etc. So there's a daily dose amounts because they get consumed pretty quickly. To be honest, I don't do it as religiously. If I miss a day, no problem. Like I went to Japan, 2 weeks, no problem. I just do a larger correction after I come back.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's what I do for trace elements. I also do the NP Bacter Balance, carbon dosing. And once in a while, I do the calcium carbonate to kind of add out the water, the coral snow. to kind of just make it more clear. That's
So
all.
what do you feed the tank?
Feed the tank, I do freeze-dried mysis shrimps, freeze-dried mysis,
TDO.
TDOs, and Benepets.
And then you run a refugium here, I see.
Yes, more like macroalgae.
Okay.
It's growing macroalgae, and I'll prune them. And I have a compound reactor and also a media reactor that runs GFO.
And then what kind of protein skimmer this is?
This is the Omega 150i.
Okay, who makes it?
Vertex.
Vertex.
Rest in peace.
Beautiful skimmer, I was
yeah,
going to say,
great
because
skimmer.
it seems like the same quality build as the Bubble King. They were similar
Yeah.
products. And they build the sump as well? Or this is
From Motorcream.
So they build this?
They built this, yeah.
Well, buddy, the tank looks beautiful, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us over, man. I appreciate it. It's one of the best natural looking tanks I've seen in a long time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to check out his channel, Inappropriate Reefer. We're going to put a link below. If you like the shirts that we're wearing, you can check them out on our website. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Help us a lot. Post some comments below. We'll see you guys on the next episode.